256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And with that, we do say welcome into another brand new live edition of Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone with Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond. Happy Thursday morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. We want you to be a part of the show and the fun all morning long. You can give us a call, 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And we do want to hear from you on this Thursday morning. We have got a lot of stuff to sort through, a lot of stuff to get through. It is Thursday. That does mean we still move one day closer to the Final Four in New Orleans. And interested to see if anybody from around here is making that trip down to New Orleans. With it being so close and the games being so intriguing, you have Duke and North Carolina facing each other for the first time ever in the NCAA tournament. And here's what I'm hearing, though, a lot when that game is talked about. And it goes back, it's the old adage or the old debate, which is the greatest rivalry in college sports. Because when you hear a lot of people talk about the Duke-North Carolina game, not just the Final Four, but when we hear the Duke-North Carolina basketball game, it's not uncommon to hear the greatest rivalry in college sports. When it comes to football season, we hear Michigan-Ohio State, the greatest rivalry in college football. When you hear the Iron Bowl talked about, they'll say it's the greatest rivalry in college football. It's the greatest rivalry in college sports, Alabama-Auburn. I just find it interesting that we put that label on a lot of things. So where would you put it? Where would you put the Duke-North Carolina series in basketball? Is it the greatest rivalry in college sports? Or is it simply the greatest rivalry in college basketball? 256-576-4977. By the way, Duke is still sitting at a 4-point favorite over Carolina in the Final Four. Kansas sits at a 4-point favorite over Villanova. That one will be the game's first one. That is a 5:09 tip. And then at 7:49 on Saturday, you will get Duke and North Carolina. Just curious on what everybody thinks about that. The Duke, North Carolina versus Iron Bowl versus Michigan, Ohio State. Because we hear that a lot this week. And we're going to hear it even more, especially today and tomorrow and a plenty on Saturday. It's going to be labeled as the greatest rivalry in college sports. But is it truly the greatest rivalry in college sports? Duke, North Carolina basketball. Other stuff to get through today includes Alabama Pro Day yesterday. Underwear Olympics hit Alabama. And we'll kind of go over that a little bit. What kind of happened there? Jalen Armour-Davis, Slade Bolden, Christian Harris, Vidarian Mathis, Evan Neal, Chris Owens, LeBrian Ray, Brian Robinson Jr., and Daniel Wright all worked out. Those not working out but were in attendance, as you might expect. Jamison Williams not working out, but his rehab is on schedule, looking good after the ACL injury in the national championship game. Christopher Allen, Josh Jobe, and John Mechie III all were there but did not work out. Now, Alabama does have a second pro day, and that one will be April 13th. Will be Alabama's second pro day. Obviously, Jameson Williams not going to work out in that second pro day, but his rehab is doing better, is Jameson Williams. Alabama head coach Nick Saban did visit with the media yesterday as well. Here's a little bit of Coach.
Here, this is a great opportunity for people in the National Football League who we open our arms to come and have a chance to look at, evaluate our players. Lots of players here want to get an education. We do the best we can to create a platform for them to be successful in that regard, but they all also, want the opportunity to play in the NFL someday. So we want to try to help them develop to be the best players they can be so that they get opportunities like this. I think the better our players do when they get opportunities in the NFL, the more it benefits our program, long term. And obviously, I think with a lot of the things that are happening now in college football, it's going to be more challenging to continue to be able to develop players. But that's a challenge that we're certainly looking forward to. So, but I really appreciate what these guys have to do. I did it for 8 years when I was in the NFL, to go around, travel around, work out players, try to get to know them better, and, gather information from coaches and people who have relationships with them. So we appreciate them, and we try to do the best job we can to make sure we accommodate them in a first-class way.
That was Alabama head coach Nick Saban. Just a little bit there from Alabama's Pro Day yesterday. Coming up a little bit later in the show, Aaron Suttles will join us as we kind of delve down into a little bit more of what happened yesterday at Alabama's Pro Day. We'll also get through some NFL news today. Bruce Arians making a big-time announcement yesterday, stepping down as Tampa Bay's head coach, going to move to a front office role. Defensive coordinator Todd Bowles promoted to head coach. And Bruce Arians quickly denying any rift between him and Tom Brady prior to stepping down. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as the show kind of rolls along this morning. 256-576-4977. That is the number 2. The Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Again, we want to hear from you on this Thursday morning. And one of the other things that we're going to get to today, Big Game Boomer Sooner put this out there, and it's been some interesting conversation. It's been something fun to kind of look at the last few days. Listed the 100 greatest quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers in college football. And that is a long and daunting list to try to get through if you're trying to name the 100 best in all of those positions. But he tried, and we'll go through and kind of read down some of those names for you today. It's pretty interesting when you start looking over some of the names. It's interesting because the game has evolved and changed so much that guys' numbers 20 years ago are completely different than their numbers today. So where do they rank in all of it? It's pretty interesting.
Ranking players before a season is an exercise in stupidity. And the reason I say that is because you don't know, like James.
All time. This is ranking players all time.
Oh, okay. I thought he was talking about going into this season.
No. Ranking players all time.
Well, he'll probably go ahead and do that too. He ranks everything. That's all he ever does. And most of the time, you'll have Oklahoma guys in the top 5 everywhere because he's a Sooner. But again, I've told him on more than one occasion that I disagreed with the way he ranks everything. He's really not high on Tuscaloosa as a town overall. Of course, when you don't ever win anything and Alabama's winning things all the time, it's probably jealousy. But, as a good friend of mine in the radio business, I won't put his name out there, said, I featured Big Game Boomer on my show once and I felt dumber.
Well, he listed the top 100 quarterbacks all time in college football. The top 100 quarterbacks.
He creates conversation. I'll give him that.
He put his top 5 all time in college football.
Right.
Tim Tebow, Baker Mayfield, Cam Newton, Peyton Manning, and Vince Young in that order.
Hold on. Say that 5 again.
Tim Tebow,
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, Cam Newton, Peyton Manning, and Vince Young in that order as top 5.
Interesting. No way that I would. I guess with Cam Newton, it would be because he won a national championship, but I don't think he was a better quarterback than Peyton Manning. But that's me. As a QB, certainly Cam was more athletic. Cam was a great player in his own right. Tim Tebow was a hell of a player. But I will say this, when you're ranking college quarterbacks, it's on college production, not NFL.
Right,
So
right.
that's the way you have to do it. But did you say Baker Mayfield number 2 overall ever?
Yeah, he puts Baker Mayfield as the second. How
many national championships did Baker Mayfield win?
0.
0.
How many did Peyton Manning win?
0. But Baker Mayfield couldn't clean Peyton Manning's bathroom ever in any level of football. That's because Big Game Boomer is a Sooner. That's why he put Baker Mayfield's not better than Kyler Murray, for crying out loud.
He has Kyler Murray as number 20.
Well, I'm sorry. Kyler Murray was a better college player. I don't care if he started less years than the great Baker Mayfield, but Baker Mayfield was overrated.
So some of the other names on the list, just interesting
I don't
names.
care if he won the Heisman Trophy. I could give a rat's rip.
Roger Staubach at number 7. He puts Roger
Staubach is 10 times the athlete and player that Baker Mayfield is.
Joe Burrow at number 8.
Joe Burrow. I mean, give me a break.
That
Joe
was
Burrow.
one season.
He's better than Baker Mayfield. There's no question about it.
Matt Leinart at 9. Davey O'Brien at number 10, which, if the award is named after you, you probably should be at least inside the top 10, I would think.
And I don't care that he didn't win the Heisman when he was healthy. Tua Tagovailoa was better than both Baker Mayfield and Murray, and he whipped Kyler Murray head-to-head to prove it.
He has Tua at number 33 all-time in college football.
Whatever.
Michael Vick at number 15. Johnny Manziel at number 18. Doug Flutie, 21. Charlie Ward, 22.
Doug Flutie was better than absolutely a couple of those guys that you just mentioned.
I'm just kind of.
Of course, I don't know the Big Game Boomer. He was probably 2 years old when Doug Flutie was playing.
One that interests us here in North Alabama, he puts Phillip Rivers in at number 40.
Well, I mean, Phillip did have a great career at NC State. I mean, he started for 4 years. I mean, and way back in his day, he was an early enrollee when that never happened. And went through. I believe he went through spring and won the job, which a lot of people weren't expecting. And then I'll never forget his first few games. Like several of them were on national ESPN TV, like Thursday nights. And what he was doing as a true freshman was remarkable.
Yeah. Other names on the list. Mac Jones checks in at number 47 on his list.
He's better than Baker.
Archie, so Peyton is number 4. Archie Manning is number 50. And Eli Manning is number 59. So all 3 Mannings make the list.
Well, Archie was one hell of a player. I know he didn't win a national championship, but if I could choose a college quarterback, I'd choose him over Baker too. As you can tell, I'm not a big Baker guy.
Jim Plunkett, number 41 on the list. Gino Torretta, number 43. Some surprising names. Bryce Petty from Baylor at number 51. Brady Quinn from Notre Dame at 55. He does put Troy Aikman at number 65 from UCLA.
Still bitter that he left Oklahoma.
Bob Greasy at number 69. Jim McMahon from BYU at number 70. Matt Ryan, number 72, Boston College. A.J. McCarron.
Well, where would AJ rank?
75.
Interesting. We haven't heard one particular name of interest from Alabama as well. He's just the reigning Heisman Trophy winner and is already better than Baker also.
I'm going to say these are these are guys that have already moved on.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're going to rank them in the top 100, you might as well rank the guys that are still playing, too, if you're just going to go there.
He put Jalen Hurts at 97.
Okay. Now I know he's been smoking reefer, but oh well.
Joe Namath is 100.
Yeah. He put Jalen Hurts above Joe Namath. Just trapdoor this moron. He wouldn't know a football if it hit him between the eyes. I mean, you can't even make. And let me guess, Ken Stabler wasn't even on it.
I'm looking. I'm going.
Probably not, because he doesn't know who he is, because he's not from Enid, Oklahoma.
He did put Colin Kaepernick at 86.
Oh yeah, Colin Kaepernick was better than Ken Stabler every day of the week, right? Good Lord. How many pairs of free Air Force Ones did Kaepernick send Big Game Boomer?
Tim Couch, 92. Cliff Kingsbury, 94.
Cliff Kingsbury better than Kenny Stabler?
Yeah, I'm just kind of going.
You can't put up with stupidity like that, man. This is a Moron of the Year award nominee. Big Game Boomer. Get right. I can't wait till you come to the SEC, pal, because you're going to have even less to write about, because y'all going to get your heads caved in every sport. So just get ready. You might as well put everything that you put on DVD and VHS, you might as well put it in a glass case so you can look at it every now and then, because you're not going to be winning anything, because you're going to get your ass whooped.
He also put Alex Smith, J.T. Barrett, Geno Smith, Chris Leak, and Brandon Whedon.
All ahead of Kenny Stabler.
And Joe Namath.
Yeah, of course. They're all better than Joe. Of course. Like I say, man, it's why I unfollowed that clown. I can't tolerate stupidity. I know you're just trying to create conversation and also give your boys from Oklahoma all this pub, but I just can't put up with morons, and that's what that is. I understand you're trying to create conversation, and you go and I don't know what his system is to rank. He just goes ahead and throws these lists out there, but a lot of them are stupidity, and this is one of them.
Joe Montana, Notre Dame, 77 on the list.
Yeah.
So, Josh Heupel, 68.
Oh, yeah, Josh Heupel was better than Joe Montana. Yeah, got it.
Again, Oregon State, this must be an old one. Terry Baker from Oregon State. I don't remember. That's got to be
that's from
70s?
Yeah,
maybe?
60s and 70s, yeah. I get it.
Landry
Definitely.
Jones, 73.
Landry Jones.
He did put Chuck Long at number 74. Thank you very much.
Landry Jones?
Landry Jones.
All time.
All time.
Yeah, this guy's an all-timer, all right.
Wow. All right.
Oh, Lord.
There's some other ones on here you can scratch your head. He did put Dak Prescott at 84 for what he accomplished at Mississippi State. Andy Dalton made the list. Matt Stafford made the list. Joe Hamilton from Georgia Tech made the list.
Well, as soon as you told me that Kenny Stabler wasn't even on it, I just really can't validate any of it. I'm sorry. I know he's an Alabama guy, but Kenny Stabler is better than three-quarters of the guys that's on that list. I'm sorry.
Otto Graham made the list. Paul Hornung made the list.
Hornung is a quarterback?
Yeah, he put Paul Hornung as number 45.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, 721.
I guess he was more of a single-wing quarterback at Notre Dame when they went 3-whatever and won, and he won the Heisman Trophy because the media was as full of baloney as anybody ever in the history of mankind. But that's all right.
Let's get our first break in of the morning. When we come back, talk some Alabama Pro Day, and maybe
if it was Sirius XM, I would have said something much worse.
Maybe look at the all-time running back and receiver list.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of no knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman, hope to see you soon.
Hey Huntsville, listen up. The demand for lakefront property on Lewis Smith Lake is growing and the supply is depleting. We've got lakefront, lake access, and RV properties for one day only, April 9th. Gentle sloping, wooded home sites, and RV sites on dockable water, all surrounded by Bankhead National Forest. Complete with lakefront clubhouse, swimming pool, boat ramp, and community docks in a private gated community. Over 1 acre of lakefront, just $59.9. Gentle sloping, full-time dockable RV sites starting at $99.9. If you know Smith Lake, you know full-time RV sites to have your own dock on are a rare find. You do not want to miss this. Call 877-BIG-VIEW for more information. One day only, Saturday, April 9th. Call 877-BIG-VIEW for more information. That's over 1 acre, $59.9, full-time RV site on dockable lakefront, only $99.9. 877-BIG-VIEW to arrange a visit Saturday, April 9th. Call or click 877bigview.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000 square foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
Good morning. One accident southbound Research Park at University. Got a big truck involved, but they pulled it over to the side. Got a lot of utility problems this morning. We got crews working all over the place, and we got a lot of traffic signals that are on flash. They're going around resetting all those now. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses with over 30 years experience. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, welcome back. Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, the other big news that came out yesterday was that Bruce Arians stepping down as Tampa Bay head coach. Todd Bowles, defensive coordinator, taking over as head coach. Bruce Arians moving into the front office. Insisted, and obviously this was going to come up, but insisted that there was no rift between he and Tom Brady. He just, for health reasons and everything else, needed to make that move to the front office, and Todd Bowles taking over immediately as head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, that's interesting because Todd Bowles was interviewing for head coaching jobs. He and Byron Leftwich, in fact, Leftwich at one time was thought to be getting the Jacksonville Jaguars job. We know that fell through. So, and many people thought when Bruce Arians won his Super Bowl a couple years ago that he would retire, and especially after they tried to repeat last year, but he didn't retire immediately. But it doesn't surprise anyone. Bruce has retired, before. And come back to coach the Bucs. He did some TV, but he's getting up there in age. And again, he's going to have a front office role. And Todd Bowles failed as the Jets head coach, but so is a lot of people. So he has head coaching experience. Yeah, so we'll see. Now I guess they have to replace Bowles. I'm sure they'll have to bring in somebody to be the defensive coordinator or elevate someone.
Yeah.
But again, interesting move. There's a ridiculous rumor out there. I guess Ben Simmons and and some of these other guys have been talking about it. Bill Simmons. I'm getting the Simmonses reversed. Ben, of course, a basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets, even though he hadn't played basketball all year. But Bill Simmons talking about a possible move to Miami for Tom Brady, but I just can't believe that. There's no way. It makes no sense. Why would Tom Brady come back and then go to another team? There's just no – especially the Dolphins. I just don't buy it.
I think that report was diffused. The same guy that came out with that was the one
I know that had him going to Tampa, yeah.
And he got that one correctly.
I just don't – I don't see how anything – whoever's talking about that, it doesn't make any sense because, again, why if they were going to do that and bring in Tom Brady and even have Tua sit behind him some, then you would not have and let him learn, which that's not extremely far-fetched, but the reason it's far-fetched now is, they brought in Teddy Bridgewater. Why would you bring in Teddy Bridgewater to, some people think, compete with Tua if you were going to bring in Tom Brady? And then if you're Tom Brady, I know you played for Bruce Arians, but they always try to create this, was there a rift there? I don't think there was. But, I'll just say this. I
just think that he wanted to step down. Bruce Arians, by the way, 31-18 in his time as Tampa Bay head coach in that short time.
But here's the deal, too. If you're the Bucs have been bringing a lot of their guys back. I know they just re-signed Leonard Fournette to a multi-year contract. Why would you be bringing all these dudes back to play with another QB, or even if you trade and get a Tua Tagovailoa? These dudes are coming back to play with Tom Brady. They're not coming back to play with an inexperienced quarterback who's still growing. They're coming back to try to win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. It just doesn't make any sense.
All right, so that's your big NFL news there. Bruce Arians stepping down as Tampa Bay head coach. Todd Bowles taking over. All right, 256-576-4977. That's the number 2. The Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the show. And at the beginning of the show, we were talking about the fact that as we get closer and closer to the Final Four, you're going to hear about it ad nauseum on Saturday. Duke, North Carolina, the greatest rivalry in all of college sports. Is it truly the greatest rivalry in all of college sports? Because we hear it during basketball season. We're going to hear it ad nauseum on Saturday. Michigan, Ohio State, they would say it's the greatest college football rivalry.
It's not a rivalry if you get drilled 15 out of 17 times.
But where would we put the 3? Where would we put the Iron Bowl, Michigan, Ohio State, and Duke, North Carolina? Because we're very close and we're very entwined into the Iron Bowl, and we think it's the greatest college football rivalry of all time because we live it and breathe it 365 days a year. But
objectively, if you rank rivalries in college sports, one is Duke, North Carolina. Scott, in the last 99 meetings, Duke leads 50-49.
Well, I'm just saying, where should we put it? Because we're going to hear it on Saturday.
Number
we're
one.
Hear it in the pregame.
It should be number 1. Number 2, Alabama, Auburn. As far as, because again, and then I'd say Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan, Ohio State is not in the same state. Okay, for like Duke, North Carolina, where they're 10 miles apart, and Alabama and Auburn, where they're just like, a couple 2 or 3 hours apart. Okay, those are in the same state, and they're rabid. And I think Ohio State, Michigan is rabid. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I think, honestly, that Alabama-Auburn is even more intense. I do think that Michigan-Ohio State's an intense rivalry. There's no question about it.
Well,
but right now,
all
I don't
three
even
are
consider
intense,
it.
yes.
I don't even consider it a rivalry, though. Michigan finally did beat them this year, so maybe it's back on the way to being one. But it's really just been Ohio State because even with Nick Saban's success at Alabama and what he's done, which is remarkable, winning 6 national championships, he has lost to Auburn 5 times. Okay, because it's a great rivalry. That is a rivalry when the other side wins, at a decent clip. If before this year, I guess it was 15 years in a row,
right?
That Ohio State had beaten Michigan. That is not a rivalry. That is a beatdown. That is like what Alabama's doing to Tennessee right now in football, just smacking them around. Okay, that's what that is. It's not a rivalry until the other side starts to win.
Let's go to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Richard's with us. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. I actually say Alabama, Auburn, Michigan, Ohio State, then Duke, North Carolina, and just because in the state of North Carolina, the Duke graduates or even Duke fans are limited. NC State is second. I mean,
well, I know you're talking about by number.
I'm talking about number of fans. I'm saying, by like you said, competitiveness, it would be, Duke, North Carolina, but by number of fans that care. I mean, just like this last year, Michigan, Ohio State, nationwide Fox free, Alabama, Auburn, CBS, Duke, North Carolina is ESPN, cable TV. So just by fans that care, football is real far ahead. Like you said, as far as competitiveness, nothing compares to Duke, North Carolina. But
yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah,
to me, in state, Alabama, Auburn, just because the Duke, Duke only has 8,000 or 9,000 students, and most of them live, from New York. And
they are from out of state. But I will say this, and with Duke, North Carolina, it's just basketball. Like there's because football, it's not good enough to matter, and then baseball, not good enough to matter. Now in Alabama, Auburn's sake. In every sport, it's big.
That's what I was going to say. Does that put it ahead of?
You could say that. But I'm just saying, if you're talking about the intensity of one sport, it would be, and we didn't really specify that. But again, it would be basketball. Okay. But Alabama, Auburn, and then Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan, Ohio State is a big deal in every sport.
Well, the one thing is kind of what your, it's kind of like the quarterback rating. Is what your definition of the, kind of parameters would be. Yeah. How you would, how you would, kind of rate the, the rivalries, because there's different, it's kind of like these quarterbacks. To me, you should have had at least 2 seasons of starting.
Yeah, and then another national rivalry. We got Paul Angeheski. I'm going to go ahead and put his name on it because he's right. Another rivalry we didn't mention that's huge, nationally, and it's big in every sport, even though the football is the biggest, but is Army-Navy. That's a big
Correct. One. Yeah,
it's
like
huge.
I said, it's all kind of what, like you said, though, as far as competitiveness, there's nothing close to Duke, North Carolina at all. But then again, you get on a Saturday, you got, North Carolina with 22,000 fans and Duke with 9,000 fans.
Yeah.
But North Carolina in that state, they kind of own the state.
They do. They do. I do think if Duke expanded their Cameron Indoor, they never will. I'm not saying they will, but if they moved it to 12, 13,000 seats, they could sell all those seats easily. But
that would
it
take
is what
away
it is.
From the
they're just not. They're
Duke
not.
Is.
No.
They're not.
Yeah.
I bought tickets. I went to both places. They both had a game on the same day about 3 years ago, and my son and I went.
Wow.
And went to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was the only time they've ever lost to Clemson at home. And then Duke played at night, so I was able to, hop in the car, drive over to, Cameron and go to the game there. But I guess you would say StubHub is your friend, depending on what you pay. So I wanted to go that bad. So, but it would, every ticket is, probably quadruple face value to get in, out. But there's nothing, home court advantage. Nothing compares to Cameron. Though nothing.
Wow.
I mean, you can't even sit down. I mean, basically, the lower bowl is standing only.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you go to the bathroom, you have to wait till a timeout to go to the bathroom. There is nothing like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. Like I said, I think Coach K is going to do it to them on Saturday, though.
Yeah, I hear you, Richard. Before you go, we haven't talked about it on the show yet, but we'll bring it up to you because you have brought his name up on social media and maybe even on this show. But there was a significant addition, Scott, yesterday locally to the transfer portal from North Alabama from Ohio University. It happened late in the afternoon. Scott Whittle of the EYBL, of course the Nike Elite Stars director for AAU. He is he's very close with Mark Sears, who played for his AAU program. Mark Sears, Scott, all MAC. At Ohio University, the Bobcats, averaged nearly 20 points per game last year, 19.6. He has gone into the transfer portal, and now it's going to be interesting to see how aggressive Alabama, Auburn, and some other SEC schools and around the nation. I think he'll be a sought-after player, but going to be interesting to see where Mark Sears lands, Richard.
Yeah, correct. Like you said, that, and then you don't know with the Missouri going on with Kobe Brown. Because a lot of them, because the big tall Missouri guy, the centers, went to Arkansas last night.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
a lot of the guys out of Missouri leaving, so it's another local guy to kind of keep your eyes on. So you got several here, kind of in state out, to kind of keep your eyes on over the next few weeks that Alabama, Auburn, UAB might be interested in.
That's right.
All right, Richard. Thanks for the call, bud.
Okay,
thank you, man.
Later.
Let's go out and let's stay on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Shane Sean's with us this morning. Good morning, Shane Sean.
What's up, man?
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, this idiot that put Baker Mayfield at number 2 as the best quarterbacks of all time has got to be smoking some good stuff.
Yeah.
Baker was a great quarterback. I mean, he was, but he is not even in the top. He's not even my top 50.
Yeah, I wouldn't have him above guys like Charlie Ward. I think Charlie Ward was a great play.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sorry. Baker was good, but
he had Davey O'Brien 10, Dan Marino 11, Trevor Lawrence checked in at number 12.
If you want to rank Baker Mayfield near the top of a list, now former walk-ons, you could do that. And I'm not being disrespectful because he was a walk-on. I mean, they ended up being a great player.
I don't care if he walked on. I don't care how he got there. If he fell in a hole and landed there, he was a good quarterback, but he's not in the top 50.
Yeah.
Michael Vick checked in at number 15.
Yeah, Michael Vick.
was
Oh my goodness gracious!
And then to put Kenny Stabler. They didn't even put Kenny on there, did they?
No.
And Joe Namath. Come on now. I mean, I know this guy did. He was probably.
I'll say it again, Shane Sean. I'll say it again. Jalen Hurts above Joe Namath.
Yeah, that's not even right. I love Jalen.
I would ask Big Game Boomer if he let Jalen Hurts' father vote on that.
But is Jalen Hurts honestly one of the best 100 college football quarterbacks of all time?
Not even close.
No, I don't even think he does. No. I'm not even sure that I would put Baker Mayfield in the top 100. He sure wouldn't. He sure as hell wouldn't be in my top 50.
Now, Baker Mayfield, you could argue, had probably one of the best top 100 seasons in college football.
But that's not
all time. Yes.
Right.
But same way with Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had one of the greatest college football seasons of all time, but is Joe Burrow really one of the 100 best college football quarterbacks of all time?
No, if you rate him in the probably top 10 seasons of all time, yes. But college quarterbacks of all time, no. Not in the top 100.
I don't know. I mean, that's some. It creates conversation, but you start wondering about folks' football IQ.
It does, but the list was top 100 of all time, not top greatest season.
Yeah.
How can you play 1-2 years max? I mean, absolute max, and make that list?
I guess because he won the Heisman. In Joe Burrow's case, won the Heisman. Baker Mayfield's case, won the Heisman. I guess he just had that great year.
How many Heismans are there total? Since it started, how many Heisman winners do we have?
I mean, the
close, so they got to be perfect.
I mean, the award started back around in the 1930s.
Okay, so there's 100 some odd winners.
Baker Mayfield in his college career passed for 14,607 yards and 131 touchdowns.
He was a great college player, but I mean, I agree with Shane Sean. I'm number 2 all time. I mean, that dude didn't even win a national championship.
I'm gonna go back and go off something Drew said about Archie Manning. I'd put him way above Baker Mayfield, way above him. And he didn't even win a Heisman.
Joe Burrow's college career was, including Ohio State, he passed for 8,565 yards and 76 touchdowns. 60 of those come in one season.
Yeah.
That was Joe Burrow's numbers.
He had an amazing season.
Yes.
Okay, 1935, and there are 86 Heisman Trophy winners.
I knew there was a few multiple winners and stuff like that.
No, there's just one multiple. That's Archie Griffin, back to back.
Okay.
And so for the Ohio State University, for those folks in Ohio that are going to be mad because I didn't rank Ohio State and Michigan the number 1 rivalry in collegiate athletics. But yeah, I mean, there haven't been 100, but again, like you said, Shane Sean, and I was right. It goes all the way back to 1935.
And on that subject, I don't think that there's a true answer for the greatest college rivalry. That's just personal opinion. People from up north, of course, is going to say Ohio State, Michigan, and people from the south is going to say Alabama, Auburn.
They will, Shane Sean. I agree, but heck, up north, half of them are worried about pro sports. They're not even worried about college, man.
That's true.
You're northeast. Your northeast is your pro driven. In the Midwest, I will say this: having grown up there,
yeah, you grew up in the Midwest, so you can tell.
Football. It is college football. I mean, you do.
So
care,
college is above NFL,
but you also care a lot about college basketball as well. So,
in the Midwest.
So when college football season is going on and college basketball has started, you're worrying about both. You're not worrying about, well, we're going to wait till college basketball when football ends. No. You're worried about 3 sports. You're worried about college football, college basketball, and college wrestling.
Oh, that's right. Wrestling is big in the Midwest. And how big is college hockey in the Midwest?
It wasn't really around when growing up when I was there because Iowa didn't have anything. I mean, we had a lot of junior hockey, but it's gotten a lot bigger, especially in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Yeah. Because Wisconsin doesn't have baseball, right?
Right.
I got to get back to work, but I just want to let you know, I know I haven't called in a very long time, but I do not miss a show. I listen every day.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
Yep. See y'all. Have a good evening.
Thanks. Yeah. College wrestling, ginormous.
I know
the one thing that's not big, at least in the state of Iowa, is college baseball. Because Iowa, I mean, it's rare that you get a home game until about now. I mean, you may not get a home game.
But Iowa and Iowa State play baseball.
Iowa State does not have baseball.
I was trying to remember if they did.
Iowa State did away with baseball.
But they did have it at one time.
Yeah. Iowa State and Northern Iowa both.
Did away with baseball? When I was in
school, they cut baseball in Northern Iowa. They did away with the baseball program.
Okay.
Because, the cost is so high because the first month of the year, you're basically playing on the road.
Yeah. And Wisconsin has never had it, have they?
I don't think so, because they would never get to play.
Yeah, because of the weather.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, even in Ann Arbor, for Michigan and Michigan State, it's really hard for them to get some home baseball. And that's why when Michigan makes it to the College World Series for softball, it's an amazing story because of the fact that it's not the best environment weather-wise,
or the
month and a half of the year.
A few years ago when the baseball team went to the finals of the College World Series.
Yeah, because it's not really easy for them to play baseball there. A lot of it's on the road. All right, let's get that second break in. When we come back, continue the talk, and the phone line's open to you, 256-576-4977.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning. One accident southbound Research Park at University. Got a big truck involved, but they pulled it over to the side. Got a lot of utility problems this morning. We got crews working all over the place, and we got a lot of traffic signals that are on flash. They're going around resetting all those now. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses with over 30 years experience. D&L 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
The PGA Tour's Korn Ferry Tour is coming to the Rocket City. Join us at the Ledges for the Huntsville Championship, April 29th through May 2nd. Experience the beauty and drama of the course firsthand. Witness golf's rising stars chase their PGA Tour dreams. Cheer on the future of golf up close and personal. Tickets are on sale now at HuntsvilleChampionship.com.
America First Alabama PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising. North Alabama needs a Trump-tested conservative representing us in Congress. We need Republican Casey Wardynski. Casey Wardynski served as Assistant Secretary of the Army for Manpower and Reserve Affairs under President Trump, responsible for the supervision of the Army's 1.3 million person manpower. Casey Wardynski believes in restoring integrity of elections and will push back against the leftist schemes of Nancy Pelosi to weaken elections. Casey Wardynski also agrees with President Trump and will fully fund the wall and finish the job he helped to start. Casey Wardynski will fight the socialist left who are tearing down monuments and statues that memorialize America's history. Enough is enough. It's time to drain the swamp and send a Trump-tested conservative to Washington. We can count on Republican Casey Wardynski.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
This week on RVER, sponsored by Progressive Insurance. I'm sorry, I can't operate on that vehicle.
But doctor, you took an oath.
That RV, it's my son's RV.
Oh, doctor, isn't there anything you can do?
I'm not a miracle worker, Sheila. I'm an RV surgeon, trained to save the lives of large, injured recreational vehicles, which is definitely a real profession.
When your RV really needs saving, Progressive has you covered. See if you could save with a leader in RV insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, covered subject to policy terms.
Redmont Vodka and Vulcan Gin, Alabama-made premium quality spirits, owned by our very own Charles Barkley. 8 times distilled, gluten-free, and non-GMO. Whether you choose to sip Redmont on the rocks or blended with your favorite mixers, you will definitely be able to taste the difference. Pick up some Redmont Vodka and Vulcan Gin today. Available in ABC stores and package stores. For more information, visit us at RedmontDistilling.com. Also, follow us on Instagram at Redmont Distilling. Support local, enjoy responsibly.
You want coffee? Anybody want coffee?
Time to get me off the hook. Type say the tire's tired.
Tom Abraham, weekdays from 10 till noon on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All lines are open. Feel free to jump in 256-576-4977.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you. And yesterday in Tuscaloosa, the Underwear Olympics made their way to Alabama as it was pro day for Alabama. 9 players actively going through pro day yesterday. Those that did not participate, obviously, Christopher Allen, Josh Jobe, John Mechie, and Jamison Williams. They were there for interviews, but I think it goes without saying that Jamison Williams was not going to participate in any kind of drills or anything yesterday as he continues to recover. But the good news there is he is recovering and recovering nicely. But the others did go through pro day.
Yeah, and I thought Evan Neal put on an impressive show because really he didn't do a whole lot at the combine, Scott. Didn't do any drills, just 40 basically, and interviewed. And so but I thought he put on a nice show. Jalen Armour-Davis impressed some people with his overall athleticism. Remember, he was recovering from a hip injury at the end of the regular season. He verticaled about 36. I mean, and then at the combine, he ran under a 4.5, pardon me, and he ran in the 4.4s. And he's got impressive size. So I think he is going to solidify himself at being drafted. So that'll be significant for Jalen Armour-Davis. I think Brian Robinson impressed some folks with his size. He was 6'1.5", 224 pounds. Slade Bolden showed a lot of excellent quickness in hands. Now, he didn't run the 40 in spectacular fashion. I think it was a 4.66 and a 4.7. And that's not surprising because, again, straight line speed is not Slade's game. It's more quickness in hands and knowing how to get open. He'll be a third-day pick if he's drafted. But I think, Chris Doering was there for SEC Network and was impressed with what he saw in the drills from Slade. So I think Slade and his ability to return punts, which he did some at Alabama. He did some Wildcat quarterback as well. His niche will be special teams, and being a slot receiver. I still think he can get drafted, in the 5th, 6th, 7th round and have a chance to have a pro career.
All right, that's Alabama's pro day yesterday. When you look at Evan Neal, first overall pick potentially. I mean, is that still there?
They've got Walter Little from Stanford that they're trying to develop the Jaguars, I'm saying. And they've still got, of course, they re-signed Cam Robinson. They franchised him. So there seems to be less buzz about the Jags potentially taking an offensive tackle. They may go defense. I would take Neal because I do think you can't have enough good offensive linemen in offensive tackles. Good ones are hard to find, and you could certainly have a bookend with Cam Robinson and potentially Evan Neal. You could even move Walter Little inside to guard because a lot of times you can do that with a tackle, move him inside to guard. But again, we'll see. Because the Jags, I believe they signed Brandon Sheriff. They've spent some money on their offensive line. But if you're trying to protect the greatest, Trevor Lawrence, and I just think that should be your first priority. Is especially because the wide receiver group is so deep. You can get some wide receivers later in the draft, but the big guys up front are very, very important when you're trying to protect a franchise quarterback.
When we talk about Tua having to prove something this year, we didn't get to see a lot of Trevor Lawrence, a lot of that not his fault last year because of the debacle that was Urban Meyer in Jacksonville. Now Doug Peterson, the head coach there in Jacksonville. Going to be interesting to see what they do with Trevor Lawrence and how they surround him with talent, or they surround him with an offensive line so we can actually see what Trevor Lawrence can do in the NFL, because I don't think a lot of people got to see or even understand what Trevor Lawrence could do in the NFL last year because of everything that went on with Urban Meyer.
Yeah, I mean, it was just such a circus with Urban. It was so negative. You could never really tell, about a lot of guys. And then remember, Travis Etienne was hurt with a foot injury.
Yeah. All right, let's go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Hunter's with us. Good morning, Hunter.
Good morning, Scott and Drew. How are you guys?
How are you doing, man?
Doing well. Yeah, I completely agree with Drew. I mean, I don't see how you don't take Evan Neal number one for the Jags. I mean, you can never have too much depth at the offensive line, and like you said, you can move Walker inside a guard and still have a much more full offensive line to protect Trevor. I mean, I think that's got to be the Jags' number one objective this season, is to protect him, because he got just slaughtered last year. I mean, I just don't see. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson would be a great addition on the end, but I mean, man, I just don't see how you take Evan Neal. But I mean, I just don't see taking Aiden Hutchinson personally. But and also going back to the rivalry thing, I still don't see how you don't put Alabama and Auburn as number one rivalry. I mean, I'm sorry, I just Ohio State has slaughtered Michigan for years now. I mean, they did win one last year, but I just don't see. I think Ohio State's going to come back with a vengeance this year. I mean, I think they're circling that game on their calendar this year. And I mean, at least like you said, at least Auburn has been somewhat competitive.
Yeah, and then the Alabama-Auburn basketball rivalry is back to being white hot too. I mean, Duke North Carolina is just basketball.
Yeah, I mean, the basketball rivalry is firing up. I mean, and it's always a good rivalry. And I feel like in the baseball as well. I mean, in the men's baseball and softball.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why you have to feel like you got to put Alabama and Auburn number one. I mean, it's through every sport.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point, Hunter. Appreciate the call.
All right, that's going to do it for Hour 1 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We're going to kick off Hour 2. Top of the hour, we're going to be talking a little Missouri spring football and basketball. They got a new head basketball coach there.
Yeah, Dennis Gates.
Yeah, and you talk to Mitchell Forty. We'll break it all down from the Missouri side. Coming up next.
Hi, everybody. Eli Gold here. Right now, indoor air quality occupies top-of-mind awareness for families and business owners. Rick Smith and the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems can take care of your indoor air quality concerns with their state-of-the-art indoor air quality solutions. Environmental Comfort's indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of airborne contaminants so you and your family can breathe clean, fresh air. If anyone in your family suffers from allergies, or if you just want the security of knowing the air you breathe inside your home is free from viruses, bacteria, pet dander, dust, and odors, Environmental Comfort Systems are the professionals to call. Environmental Comfort also carries state-of-the-art, high-efficiency comfort systems that increase home comfort, keep humidity in check, and help you save money on your energy bills. Give my friend Rick a call or visit them online at envcomfort.com and breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
And a pedestrian struck by a vehicle Parkway southbound south of Oakwood. Sounds like there's not much to it. Should be clearing on it pretty quick. Everything else looking good this morning. Just lots of utility crews out working. And we still have a traffic signal or two that are flashing this morning. The fan favorites back. The 8-piece shrimp signature side and buttermilk biscuit in Popeye's $6 shrimp tackle box. University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye's Skywatch traffic center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-60s. Maybe just a touch on the breezy end of the spectrum. Also not ruling out an isolated shower. The vast majority of us are going to be dry. Temperatures drop into the upper 30s and lower 40s as we head into the overnight. A mostly to partly sunny sky for your Friday. Temperatures hanging out once again in the low and mid-60s. An isolated shower moves into the Tennessee Valley for your Saturday. Mostly cloudy. Temperatures in the mid-60s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
The NIT Championship game tonight. Xavier taking on Texas A&M. The Aggies a 4.5-point favorite. The over-under at 137.5. Elsewhere, the championship game of the Basketball Classic. Fresno State a 3-point favorite against Coastal Carolina. Carolina. The NCAA Final Four Saturday, Villanova +4 against Kansas and North Carolina +4 against Duke. The USFL returns for the first time since 1986. The Michigan Panthers, the odds-on favorite to win the league championship at +400. The Tampa Bay Bandits +550. Season starts April 17th. NBA, the Hawks hosting the Cavaliers. Atlanta a 5-point home favorite. The over-under at 222. It'll tip off at 6:30 p.m.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome into another hour of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. Final hour of our Thursday edition show. And what a show it's been so far. But a lot of news around the SEC. Missouri going through spring football, but they also have themselves a new head basketball coach. And we pay attention to that here because two guys, two brothers, I should say, not just guys, family members suiting up for the Tigers. So there is a little bit of interest in what goes on there in Columbia.
Yeah, Kobe and Caleb Brown, of course, the sons of three-time state championship coach Greg Brown, back-to-back state titles for the Lee Generals as they won yet again this year, led by the best player in the city of Huntsville, Jakari Lane, headed to UNA. And then, of course, Davius Woods, the junior, hitting the game-winning shot in the state championship game, but also, Dexter Smith. They had a really nice senior class led by those two guards with Smith and Jakari Lane. They both had great years, and they both headed to the college level. And so we've enjoyed watching them. We enjoyed watching the Brown brothers both play for their father, Greg Brown, and move on to Missouri. But we're going to talk some Missouri with our next guest. And, of course, he does an outstanding job as the beat writer for PowerMizzou.com, and that's part of the Rivals Network, and it's Mitchell Forty, and he's joining us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Mitchell, it's great to have you back in Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you this morning?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, Mitchell. Thank you for taking some time. We'll start with basketball. After 5 years, Quanzo Martin dismissed. A new era of Mizzou hoops. Dennis Gates coming over from Cleveland State. How has he been accepted, or what's been the reaction from the Mizzou fan base of the new era of Tiger basketball?
Yeah, I think it's been a mixed reaction, mostly probably positive, but you always have the negative crowd is probably a little more vocal sometimes. There were certainly people who felt like, you fire a guy like Quanzo Martin who came from, had a lot of high major experience, made a couple tournaments, and then hire a guy in Cleveland State who, on the surface, maybe isn't the splashiest hire, went 50 and 40 there. Didn't go to the NCAA tournament this past year. But I think most people, once they started to kind of dig into Dennis Gates' resume, started to come around a little bit. He's a Leonard Hamilton guy, spent a lot of time as an assistant at Florida State, and took over a really tough situation in Cleveland State, and ended up taking them to the NCAA tournament last year and won the Horizon League each of the past 2 years. So I think for the most part, people are excited. I mean, anytime you get a new coach, people are going to be excited, and there's going to be anticipation about what he can do. He was introduced a week ago, and has basically been out on the road recruiting ever since. So we'll see what the roster ends up looking like.
Yeah, not only do you have to recruit for the future, but you also have to recruit your own roster back as well. That's just the growing times of college athletics. What do we know about the roster that's there now, and who do we anticipate will be there next year?
Yeah, so basically half of last year's team has already entered the transfer portal, which is really not surprising. I mean, in the age we're in with the one-time free transfer and the amount of people who transfer, when you have a coaching change, you have to expect a lot of turnover. And a couple of those guys entered prior to Quanzo Martin leaving, but they've had 6 guys enter the portal, the most recent one coming yesterday. So they had 6 scholarship players as of right now set to come back from last season, and then 1 high school player signed, and Gates has already landed a couple commitments since he got the job. 1 junior college forward and then a transfer from Milwaukee. So right now they have, I guess that would leave us with 4 open scholarships. Certainly a chance that you could have more guys enter the portal. Also a chance that maybe one or 2 of those guys who entered the portal could end up back at Missouri.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And, of course, the young man who has transferred within the conference, he played quite a bit down the stretch. Trayvon Brazil, he's a big, an athletic big. He transfers from Missouri to Arkansas. And then, as you reported yesterday, DeJuan Gordon, pardon me, I got Dexter Smith on the brain, but DeJuan Gordon also enters the portal. So he's one of those 6 you're talking about. But I guess the big question for everyone in our community, what seems to be the buzz about the future of Kobe Brown and Caleb Brown? Are you hearing if they're going to try to test the waters, or are they potentially going to stay and play for Dennis Gates?
Yeah, I haven't really heard one way or the other. At this point, it seems, decently likely that they're going to stick around.
Yeah.
They haven't entered the transfer portal yet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, I'd never be surprised if anyone enters the transfer portal at this point. And I do think Kobe Brown is someone who would have a lot of
interest,
options should he choose to do too. Second team All-SEC last season. But if playing with his brother is a priority, I would not be surprised to see them to stick at Missouri.
That would be, I think, the wise thing to do. Kobe is the man over there, and I would think Dennis Gates would still want to build his first team around a guy that was second team All-SEC, had 30 points against Alabama in a 92-86 home win for the Missouri Tigers last year. I guess before our listeners, who are the couple of additions you just referenced that Dennis Gates? You said a junior college forward and also a transfer from Milwaukee. Let everybody know about the 2 additions for Mizzou.
Yeah, so the junior college forward is interesting. I'm not going to pretend to be super in tune with junior college recruiting, but
right.
People who are claim that it's a really good pickup. I've heard a lot of good things about it. One site that ranks junior college recruits lists him as the best JUCO recruit in the country.
Oh, wow.
He's a 6'10" guy originally from France, played at Garden City Community College. So obviously he's got size, but he can shoot. He can step out and shoot the 3. So a good fit for modern basketball. And that was an area that was lacking last season, was just a true 5. And the transfer from Milwaukee, DeAndre Goldstein, he averaged, I don't have it in front of me. I think it was like 17 points last season in the Horizon League. So decent player who Dennis Gates certainly is familiar with because he coached against him 5 times over the past 2 years when he was at Cleveland State. He plays probably the 2 and the 3. He plays in the backcourt, but not necessarily a point guard. So bolstering the depth there.
Mm-hmm. And as you said, 4 spots were open. And Dennis Gates, since he worked for Leonard Hamilton, one of the most underrated coaches out there, what we hear about him is that recruiting is his lifeblood. And so I would think he's going to be, as you said, a traveling man all the way through most of April trying to build the rest of this roster.
No doubt. That is the priority at this point. And obviously it's a little bit challenging because, he's behind on the 2023 class too, so the first priority is to get the 2022 roster filled, the rest of the roster filled up for next season, and then start working on his first high school recruiting class. But yeah, the big priority is point guard. They hosted a junior college point guard last week. They've kind of got a gaping hole there, and also re-recruiting Aiden Shaw. He's a 4-star wing out of Kansas City who had signed under Conzo Martin and then reopened his recruitment after he got fired. But I think Mizzou is still in the running there. Those are going to be the 2 priorities.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then with Dennis Gates, has he got his staff completely together yet, or is that one of those things where that's going to be an ongoing process, and maybe after the Final Four wraps up, or is he bringing a lot of guys with him? How is his staff taking shape?
Yeah, it's interesting. As of right now, the staff is just in it. He's not hired an assistant yet. Now, he does have a couple guys helping him on the recruiting trail who it seems like are going to join the staff in some capacity, but they haven't been officially announced. Maybe assistants, maybe director of ops, off-court type roles.
Right.
I think that probably after the Final Four, we'll have a little bit better idea what the staff is going to look like. That's kind of a coaches convention down there. So
it is. Yeah.
I think that probably I would expect by the end of next week he'll have a staff in place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, while Dennis Gates busy getting running and getting going there, Eli Drinkwitz busy with spring football in Columbia.
Yep. Spring football actually wrapped up. They're on spring break this week, and they got it all done prior to spring break. But didn't see a lot of spring practices, but did see a spring game. I guess it was about 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah, and of course they were transitioning. Connor Bazelak moving on, transferring to Indiana. I know they bringing in a highly touted signee and really an outstanding recruiting class going into year 3 under Elijah Drinkwitz, a top 12 group. What is the outlook at the quarterback position right now with Bazelak moving on?
Yep, that's the big question, and I don't know the answer. It's right now he's got Brady Cook, who is he's a sophomore. He's a third-year player, but he's a redshirt sophomore. He started the bowl game last season, and he showed some things. He's pretty mobile, accurate passer. Didn't throw a ton downfield, but completed a decent percentage of his passes. And then you've got Tyler Bacon, who's a redshirt freshman. He was a 4-star signee out of East St. Louis last year. Those are the two guys on the roster. They both started one game in college, and then you mentioned Sam Horn is coming in.
Yep.
But I still think they're going to add a transfer. They were hard after Jaden Daniels, who ended up at LSU. JT Daniels from Georgia visited campus a couple weeks ago, so there's clearly still some interest there. So I would not be surprised if their starter in game 1 is not currently on the roster.
That's very interesting. We could see JT Daniels potentially staying within the SEC and playing for Elijah Drinkwitz at Missouri. And defensively, I know they changed defensive coordinators. Talk about maybe the outlook there, because I know they had, of course, it was more of an NFL flavor a year ago. What is the outlook on defense for Mizzou?
Yeah, so Steve Wilkes spent 1 year at Mizzou and then left to go back to the NFL, the Carolina Panthers, and Blake Baker's taken over. And it's interesting. Obviously the defense was not good last season, but It did get better as the year went on. They played better towards the end. And Eli Drinkwitz has talked a lot about it, Blake Baker too, about trying to kind of keep some of the continuity, some of the similarities from last year's scheme, base 4-2-5 and some of the same type of stuff they were doing last year, just because they felt like a big reason for the struggles last year was it was a pretty stark transition from what Ryan Walters did to what Steve Wilkes wanted to do. So I think we're going to see a fairly similar scheme. Obviously, Blake Baker will put his own kind of flavor on it, but there is optimism that there won't be as big of a total reset and learning curve with another switch of defensive coordinators. Mm-hmm.
And then with, as you said, the quarterback position offensively is the biggest question. I know they had some high expectations last year and we're a little up and down in Elijah's second season. With this recruiting class coming in with Luther Bird and some of these guys, how high is the expectations for year 3?
Yeah, I think that fans certainly want to see him take a step forward. When a winning record they've been 500 the past 2 years. I guess they ended up a game under it last year, losing the bowl game. But I think a winning record is kind of a must. And beyond that, it kind of depends on the quarterback position. But I think if Drinkwitz is able to sustain the momentum and take a little step forward and put another recruiting class together, there's optimism. I think there will be enough patience to see what he can do in year 4 with Sam Horn maybe taking over at that quarterback spot.
Yeah, Sam Horn, I know they're very excited about him, and really I thought it was a remarkable job. I know they wanted to win a few more games in year 2, but I thought the recruiting class and considering Wilkes moved back to the NFL, they had some coaching staff changes. I thought the recruiting was exceptional.
Yeah, it's been great. 2 years in a row, they've signed the highest rated class in Rivals history, which is obviously what we look at. So there's reason to be excited. I think that's why, even though the record may not be where fans necessarily wanted it last season, there's still a lot of optimism around that program.
No question, and we'll definitely be monitoring the transfer portal to see, and for Mizzou, you would hope that the Brown brothers are going to stay, because Kobe will be a big part of that team next year in Dennis Gates' first season, as Mizzou looks to bounce back and try to get back to the postseason in his first year. Well, Mitchell, man, we appreciate the time and you updating us on Mizzou hoops and football a little bit. As you said, Mizzou just wrapping up spring football practice, already had their spring game, and now they're on spring break. But let everybody know how to follow your coverage. And, of course, I know the basketball situation and the roster additions are going to be a huge focus.
Yep. There's always news. So powermizzou.com is the website, missouri.rivals.com, and then you can find me on Twitter at Mitchell4D. It's Mitchell, then the number 4, then the letter D.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, some good stuff there on the Missouri Tigers, and that's one of the biggest things. That tells you how times have changed in college athletics. When you become the head coach, usually it was you knew your roster, you were going to inherit them, you had a good chance to grow.
Guys
with
weren't
them.
moving around as much.
Guys weren't moving.
Yeah.
Now it's like you have to recruit that roster. Basically, when you come in, everybody's leaving.
Well,
They're all going to put their name in the transfer portal, and then they're going to decide whether or not they want to stay.
Well, and even sometimes, even if you're an established head coach, if you're, I mean, I'll be honest with you, you have to make. Nate Oates is having to make tough decisions. Juson Holt went into the transfer portal yesterday, Scott, and he was the guy that I expected to do that. That's the third guy to leave, along with Keon Ambrose Hilton, and of course Alex Chiku. They've had 3 guys leave, but then you have to decide who's coming back on your roster. Because some guys may test the NBA waters like we expect J.D. Davison to. We'll see what Jaden Shackelford does if he wants to go ahead and turn pro. We believe that Javon Quinterly is going to do that, and Keon Ellis. And then last year, look at Auburn. Auburn completely transformed their roster when you get Walker Kessler, Zep Jasper, Wendell Green. I mean, and they ended up being the best team in the SEC. So really, it's fascinating now with these one-time transfers. And then let's not forget K.D. Johnson. He came over from Georgia for Auburn. And then there's a lot of inter-conference transferring, which is interesting.
But I believe, and if I'm not, I could be wrong on this, but I feel that the Final 4 teams are veteran teams, though.
This year?
Yeah. Am I right? I know
Duke
is young.
not. Duke is young.
Carolina is
more
older.
of a veteran group.
Kansas, I think, is.
But remember, they did bring in, North Carolina brought in a huge piece in the transfer portal from Oklahoma, and Brady Manick.
Right.
I mean, but you're right, he's experienced. But he's a new piece. There's no doubt about it. Villanova has a special culture. They recruit just about all their own guys. Now, they do have a guard that transferred in, from another school. So they do have a transfer that's playing I think from Tulane, that's playing a prominent role in their roster. But still, it's one of those things where you
They're
could
more older, more experienced type of clubs.
And then, Remy Martin at Kansas. He comes in from Arizona State. So it's become, and he's an experienced player as well. But there's just, with the transfer portal now and the one-time transfer, it's just made it even more fascinating and harder almost to build a roster because these guys can transfer at any time and they don't have to sit out. So you're almost having, it's what you're basically, when you started the conversation here, you have to re-recruit your own roster or decide, okay, this dude doesn't work. He needs to move on, and we need to go get some other pieces.
Or if he puts his name in the transfer portal, you're not recruiting him to stay.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to bring him back. Yeah. Like some of these,
he wants to put his name in there.
I know Mitchell said there's some guys maybe that might return to Missouri, but that has to be a two-way street. The new coach has to want you back. And I think when Nate Oates got to Alabama, a guy like Dazon Ingram, I don't think that he wanted to bring him back. He ended up transferring to UCF and having a pretty good senior year. But there are times that coaches decide, okay, I've got my own vision for this deal. I'm going to go out and get my own guys, and you let guys transfer. And again, like Mitchell said, there's already been half their roster in a week enter the transfer portal. LSU's already had 7 or 8, probably because the check stopped.
That's a different story. They're at LSU.
Yeah,
but I mean,
Western Union. Well, I don't know if I can call them Western Union anymore now, though. That'll probably just be Will Wade's. He'll wear that albatross around his neck when he's at some junior college in Texas.
But I think this is also why you're seeing college coaches' lifespan shortened.
Yeah,
because now they come in. You recruit, these first-year head coaches now at these new programs. They're coming in there, and while they may not be truly their guys, they're going out and recruiting and getting majority of the team the way that they want it. By year 2, it's a little different. So, I mean, it's You don't get 3-4 years to build a program anymore.
Not with the transfer portal. It's accelerated everything.
Yep. Let's get that break in. When we come back, Aaron Suttles will help us break down some Tide Pro Day.
And some spring football.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The world champs are back. The Braves are out to defend their world championship. And behind Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Dansby Swanson, Max Fried, and this loaded 2022 roster, a repeat is within reach.
There goes Ozzie, 2-2 on the way, hit well. Deep center field. Might have ourselves a tie ball game. You betcha.
And we'll bring you every huge moment of the Braves 2022 season right here on the Atlanta Braves Radio Network.
Hey Huntsville, listen up. The demand for lakefront property on Lewis Smith Lake is growing and the supply is depleting. We've got lakefront, lake access, and RV properties for one day only, April 9th. Gentle sloping, wooded home sites, and RV sites on dockable water, all surrounded by Bankhead National Forest. Complete with lakefront clubhouse, swimming pool, boat ramp, and community docks in a private gated community. Over 1 acre of lakefront, just $59.9. Gentle sloping, full-time dockable RV sites starting at $99.9. If you know Smith Lake, you know full-time RV sites to have your own dock on are a rare find. You do not want to miss this. Call 877-BIG-VIEW for more information. One day only, Saturday, April 9th. Call 877-BIG-VIEW for more information. That's over 1 acre, $59.9, full-time RV site on dockable lakefront, only $99.9. 877-BIG-VIEW to arrange a visit Saturday, April 9th. Call or click 877bigbview.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Just got a natural gas leak. This is at James Clements High School on County Line. Got emergency equipment headed for that one. And we got a problem with a traffic signal on the Arsenal Martin Road and Rideout Road. They've got officers there directing traffic, trying to get that signal back online. Snelling needs medical receptionist, medical assistants, and RNs. Huntsville.snelling.com or 256-382-4000. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
So who is Wes Neighbors?
He's going to put an ass whooping meter on next year.
Does Wes know?
1 or 2 or 3 cans of whoop ass.
We can all figure it out. Weekday afternoons, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
And welcome back to Talkin Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond with you for another 30 minutes, still over 30 minutes. Earlier in the show, we talked a little bit about Alabama's Pro Day. They hosted that yesterday. 32 NFL teams on hand. That's not going to make Deion Sanders happy that only 32 came there. They didn't come to Jackson State. Draft eligible players, we went over that. It was good to see LeBron Ray, former James Clemens Jet, out there for Pro Day.
It was. He was moving around well. He decided to move on to the NFL. Probably going to be more of a third-day prospect, but still a chance to have a pro career. We never saw him completely coming to his own at Alabama due to injuries, but still has, I think, a lot of upside. And our next guest was there for Pro Day. He does an outstanding job with the Bama and Bourbon podcast also that's been during football season that you've been able to catch on YouTube. Also, he's the Alabama beat writer for The Athletic and does an outstanding job. There's not a guy that's a better long-form writer than this one. And to me, I think he's going to be trying to fill the shoes and the void left by losing our great friend and compatriot Cecil Hurt. But he's a guy that I love reading his writing. He does an outstanding job covering the University of Alabama, especially his story on Will Anderson that he did several months ago that had a lot of unique perspectives. But it's great to catch up with our next guest, Aaron Suttles, who is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Aaron, you're with Drew and Scott in Huntsville. Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Drew. And let me just tell you, no one can ever fill the shoes of Cecil, but it is a high, high honor to even be in the same breath as him. So thank you for the kind introduction.
Yeah, no doubt. And before we go into that, I guess that we haven't really spoken to you since. I mean, how do you put into words what he meant to your career? Because you worked so close with him for your time at the Tuscaloosa News. I mean, I was honored to sit with him at basketball games and pick his brain, but I didn't get to be around him nearly as much as you. You traveled with him. Well, I mean, what was it like?
You know, he went from being my hero when I first started.
Yes.
And eventually crossed over and just become a friend, a colleague and a friend. And just his perspective on things was the thing I learned the most, that, you didn't always have to come out with a hot take, that you could sit back and let the story play out and while still having an opinion. And in that way he stood out. And to me, that opened my eyes while other columnists around the country are competing to scream as loud as they can, that you didn't have to go about it that way. And in fact, a lot of people don't want that, and they don't want that from their columns. So he taught me an awful lot, and I miss him every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I know you were there yesterday at Pro Day. You wrote an outstanding piece on Evan Neal. He was the guy I think most were there to watch, Aaron. And as you pointed out, Alabama's got a chance to equal a record that the Miami Hurricanes have been very proud of from 95, I believe, to 2008. But Alabama got a chance to tie a record all time, I should say, for first-round draft choices in an NFL draft.
Yeah, when Evan Neal goes in the first round, and unless something shocking happens, he's going in the first round. It'll be 14 consecutive years Alabama's produced a first-round draft pick, which is just staggering to think about. And, nothing in life is ever a sure thing, but it seems like an awful sure thing that the next year they're going to break the record, because Will Anderson will be draft eligible. Bryce Young will be draft eligible. So It's just remarkable what Nick Saban has done in that program, attracting top talent to Alabama, developing that top talent, and then having them in a position to go on and fulfill their dreams. And that's what Evan Neal said yesterday. So he said, it feels like I'm living a dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what was your impressions of Evan Neal yesterday?
It was funny just kind of watching everyone there. You mentioned all 32 NFL teams, with Bill Belichick, Mike McCarthy were two of the prominent head coaches that were in attendance. And it felt like, everyone, we're real happy to see, as you guys mentioned, LeBron Ray back, being somewhat healthy and getting to participate. But, Fedarian Mathis was there, and, Jameson Williams didn't work out, but he was there. So there were other prospects, but it felt like you were in a room with a bunch of high school boys, and there was one pretty girl. And everyone was looking at that pretty girl, even if they were pretending they weren't looking at that pretty girl. Evan Neal was that pretty girl because he just has the look, guys. You guys, I'm sure, have talked about it. His frame, the way he carries 330 to 350 pounds is amazing. I mean, his body fat percentage for someone that big has got to be incredibly low. He just wears that weight incredibly well on his frame. I think he's an outstanding young man. Nick Saban said he cares a lot about football. It means something to him, so he prepares that way. He's taking care of his body. He just looks like a guy that is in position and is taking the attitude that he's going to take advantage of the position he's been given in this life, and that's maybe being the first Alabama player to be drafted number 1 overall since 1948 when Harry Gilmer did it. Now, Joe Namath did it in the AFL, but we're just talking about the NFL here. So everybody was there in attendance to watch him perform those offensive lineman drills.
There's no doubt. And being 6'6", 6'7", 330 plus, he moves so well. We've seen the box jump drill. He's just got freaky athletic ability. No doubt that I don't think he'll go any lower than 3 to the Houston Texans. But, Aaron, if I'm the organization, I know Aiden Hutchinson, there's been some thought they might take him, but I don't think you can have enough, A1 offensive linemen to try to protect Trevor Lawrence.
I completely agree. You got your franchise quarterback last year. Now it's time to shore up the offensive line, give him some more protection. I thought it was funny. I asked Evan yesterday, was there an offensive lineman that he liked growing up, that he studied, that he really liked the way he played? And believe it or not, he gave me a guard. He said Larry Allen with the Dallas Cowboys in the nasty streak that he played with. And if you remember anything about Larry was a powerful human being, but he was also incredibly athletic.
Yes.
For a defensive guard. I mean, there's clips of him running downfield really fast, just wiping guys out. And it's funny, Evans play. I mean, we project him as a tackle. He can play left tackle, he can play right tackle, but he's played inside at Alabama too. So he gives you that versatility that if you feel like he's not ready in his first year, maybe he can contribute inside. I think most of us think he'll be fine as an NFL tackle. But I think with what the Jaguars had, they spent a lot of time with him yesterday. They're really preparing as if they're have a decision to make with Evan Neal, and I'd be really excited for him if he went number 1.
Yeah.
Well, so Evan Neal, obviously, the one everybody looking at, but who kind of snuck in there a little bit and maybe took some advantage of everybody being there yesterday that maybe we weren't thinking about going into that pro day.
He gets a little lost because of Evan Neal and because Jamison Williams, but Christian Harris is a guy that looks like he's in pretty good shape. We know how athletic he is at linebacker. He's 6'2", I think 233 pounds. So he could play multiple positions for you. I think he can rush if you wanted him to. And obviously we've seen him inside. I think he's got some versatility to his game, and I think teams are going to be impressed with him. I don't know. They don't give us the numbers at Alabama, but Daniel Wright ran really well. He ran really fast. I know Alabama fans are sort of hit or miss on him given his kind of up and down career, but at least in terms of how he ran, it looked like he moved well. And I'll go back to Jamison Williams. I think when he says he's 10 weeks post-surgery, I still think there's an outside chance he goes in the first round. I mean, you can't teach speed, and we've seen what the NFL offenses with all these new age quarterbacks that they have, and guys like Tyreek Hill when he can command all those draft picks from the Dolphins. And speed is something you have to have in the NFL, and we know that Jamison has it. I think he grew in his time at Alabama. I think he was viewed when he came from Ohio State as just a speed guy. I think he evolved, and I thought his routes became better. I think he became a better overall wide receiver. So I'm really curious if the team's going to take a chance. And I say chance because based on he's so closely removed from the surgery and the knee injury, but I wonder if a team's going to take a chance that he'll be ready for the season and take him in the first round. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting too because I think the story for this Alabama draft class though is that you can get a lot of value for middle round guys. Because I know he's coming back from an ACL as well, but John Mechie I still think can be an outstanding pro. And I checked these stats yesterday while I was watching the Pro Day, and you were there live, Aaron. But Brian Robinson has always been a favorite of mine because of sticking it out at Alabama, because of the way he developed as a player. This is a guy that had 3,000 all-purpose yards still. I know he played a super senior season, and it was his best year, but that's still pretty significant to me, and I still think B-Rob could be a steal for someone in that 4th or 5th round area.
That's an excellent point there, Drew. I mean, how do you not love Brian Robinson and everything he gave that university? And I know a lot of fans loved at the end him talking about how much he loved the university and how he wanted to lay it on the line. Listen, here's a guy that's still got a lot of tread left on the tire. I mean, I know he was there for 5 years, but he didn't get a ton of carries. I know he did last year, but overall, relatively, for a guy that's been in your program 5 years, there's still a lot of tread left on that tire. Yeah, I think he had 35 catches out of the backfield last year, so he's proven that he can catch the ball. And I think he's a value pick because you look at him, he's in shape, he takes care of his body. Obviously, football means a great deal to him. Loyalty means a great deal to him. He's got a lot of those intangibles that NFL programs are going to love. And then, just his play on the field, he's still a really good running back.
Yeah, he really is. And then to transition to spring football, though, I know the first scrimmage will be this weekend, Aaron. This is a very intriguing Alabama team. I know you were outspoken down the stretch of saying that if you want to get Alabama, you better get them this year because they're going to be even better in 2022, and they've already had 3 significant additions in the transfer portal. We could hear of another one this week with Tyler Steen from Vanderbilt, who I think would be the left tackle going forward. But give us your thoughts and your synopsis on spring. What's the biggest questions for Alabama, and what is your outlook for this football team right now?
My outlook remains the same. I think they're the best team in the country, and I think they're going to win the national championship. I think the defense is that good. I think that you got the 2 best players returning in college football, and Bryce Young and Will Anderson. I think you got the makings of depth in the secondary. The 2 biggest question marks to me are on offense, and that's the offensive line protecting Bryce Young. And a lot of that involves, as you mentioned, the tackle position. Probably Tyler Steen is going to come in and maybe take one of those tackle spots. But how the rest, does J.C. Latham, I know they've been looking at him at right tackle. Does he stay outside? Do they move him inside? The depth that they have on the offensive line, and not just in pass protection, but in running the football too, because they were not very good in short yardage situation at creating space for running backs last year. And then wide receivers. Who are the targets that Bryce is going to be throwing to? Because we saw late in the championship game when Jameson went down, those guys didn't step up. So, obviously you get Jermaine Burton, and he's going to help you because I think he's a faster John Mechie skill type player. But then who else? Is it Trayshawn Holden? Is it one of these freshmen? Is it Aaron Anderson? Nick Saban talked about Kendrick Law. What does Isaiah Bond do when he gets on campus? So those are the question marks to me. And then just, secondary issues, not defensive back, but the secondary is, and secondly, the depth on the defensive line. You lose LeBron Ray, as you guys mentioned. Fedarian Mathis had a breakout season last year. Who are those guys that step up and become part of that rotation? But otherwise, this is a solid team. I mean, how often do you have a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback returning? That's a huge feather in Alabama's cap. They got the best defensive player in the country. They got depth all over that defense. They feel comfortable, I think, now under Pete Goldstein. And this schedule this year, I think that sets up pretty well for them. I think it's sort of if you can call it a quote-unquote revenge tour when you made the national championship game. Listen, this was an Alabama team last year, even though they made the championship games. And you guys know, you heard it. People doubted Alabama all last year. And it came from media. It came from the fans. So I think that resentment has built up a little bit in this team, and I think they're going to show out a little bit.
Bryce Young will head into the year, obviously, with a lot of scrutiny, just simply because he's the reigning Heisman Trophy winner. We've not seen one since Archie Griffin. And you start going back, and guys that have won one, I mean, Jameis Winston had to go through it where, fair or unfair, he's going to be criticized now even more, or he's going to be viewed with a microscope even more than what he was even before he came to Alabama.
Exactly. And that's the thing with Heisman Trophy winners who are coming back, who still have eligibility, because they're not competing against the field. Listen, if Bryce Young was just competing against Caleb Williams from USC or C.J. Stroud at Ohio State, Bryce Young's got a really good chance of winning another Heisman Trophy, but he's not going to be. Because you know who Bryce Young is competing with this year? Bryce Young of last year. So he has to be even better than what he was last year because he's going to be compared to himself. And so they'll hold that against him, no doubt, because he had a special year last year. And quite frankly, entering the season, his weapons at wide receiver aren't as good yet. They're not as known. So he'll be compared to what he did last year, and every game he falls short of what he did last year, the critics will pop up and they'll doubt him. But I can tell you this, when he was throwing for Slade Bolden yesterday, every eye in that building was on him. And so I suspect it will be the same as he goes through this year. Every eye will be on Bryce Young.
Aaron Suttles of The Athletic is with us the last few minutes with him. I'd be remiss if we already mentioned the 3 transfer portal additions, the Jermaine Burtons. It's certainly Elijah Ricks looks to be one of the starting corners for Alabama on, as you said, which could be the best defense in all of college football. But the guy that's created the most buzz, and I hate to say legend already, but I've been hearing about him since he enrolled and was going through bowl practices. Your thoughts on Jamir Gibbs? It sounds like he could be a Jameson Williams type addition from the standpoint of impact offensively.
I think he will be, Drew. He's my pick. If I had to pick right now, I think he's going to lead the team in yards from scrimmage, both running the football and catching. I think he's going to be a nightmare for opposing defensive coordinators. I think it'll be really advantageous to have him in this offense. And it remains to be seen in my mind, how are they going to use him as strictly a third down back? I think that, depends on Chase McClellan, Roydale Williams, how healthy they are when they come back and what sort of rotation it is. But I think you can just use him in such a variety of ways. And he's got such speed and elusiveness and runs well behind his pads. I think he's going to be a special, special talent. And, you guys have heard, when reports start coming out as soon as a guy gets on campus, it's a really good indicator that a guy's going to make a contribution. We heard it. I heard it during summer camps when Amari Cooper enrolled. They're just Minka Fitzpatrick. There are different players at different times in the Nick Saban era. When reports come out about him, you guys heard it a couple of years ago. We heard these things when Will Anderson enrolled. He didn't disappoint. And so I just think when those reports were coming out about bowl practice, about how special he was, when Bryce Young says he's winning awards for in the off season for working out and being a top performer, that's coming from your Heisman Trophy leading quarterback. So I think the expectation has been set that he's very special, and I think he's going to live up to it.
Well, Nick Saban's even gone on record as saying what kind of skill set he thinks he has. So that's significant to me, too, considering he's never played in a real game for the University of Alabama. So he obviously has caught Nick Saban's eye. And then finally, my final question for you, Aaron. We know that Tyler Steen could be an addition to this roster. I heard through the grapevine there was 2 slots open. That would be one of them. We know after spring practice last year, Nick Saban looked at his roster, felt like they needed more speed, went and got Jameson Williams. Do you think Alabama is through adding another addition to this roster, or could they potentially do something after the A-Day game?
I think they could potentially do something. And, as you mentioned, maybe it's the wide receiver. Who knows? The good thing now is you got a guy who's really good and knows different parts of the country from his years as an assistant coach at recruiting in South Missouri. He's got a heads up there sort of like portal now. He's researching. He's seen how a potential guy that's in the portal would his skill set, how it would match up bringing him into Alabama and what they do. I just tend to think if they got a spot open, they're going to use it. That's what the portal's for now. And Nick Saban has gone. They hit on their 2 last year. I think they're going to hit on the 3 that they have now. If Tyler Steen comes in, which he most likely is, that's 4. So the thing that Alabama's doing is they're not going out and getting guys just for depth, for future. They're getting impact guys that can come in and play. So I think if they can find a guy like there, if there's a guy out there that can make an impact, then I think they're absolutely going to do it.
Well, thank you, Aaron. We appreciate it. Always great conversation with Aaron Suttles of The Athletic. Let everybody know how they can connect with your work and what you're working on. Always great stuff, man. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I love you guys in North Alabama. That's where I'm from Muscle Shoals. So I appreciate all the support. I got a book coming out in the fall to share with you guys. But you can follow me on Twitter at Aaron Suttles and follow my work in The Athletic.
Really looking forward to that book. Appreciate it, Aaron. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, Aaron. All right, let's get that final break in. Tomorrow's headlines today when we wrap it up next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Find your rhythm, feed your rhythm at Rhythm on Monroe. Not just a great restaurant and rooftop bar, but the perfect spot to relax and take in a beautiful scenic downtown sunset on the rooftop or patio. Enjoy Chef Becky Vibbert's fresh and delicious fan favorites like braised beef short rib sliders, seasonally inspired fresh salmon dishes, crispy Brussels sprouts, and fresh baked peach walnut cobbler or chocolate chess pie. Open daily at 4 p.m. with brunch from 11 to 3 on Saturday and Sunday on the corner of Clinton and Monroe in the Von Braun Center. Follow Rhythm on Monroe on Facebook.
Hey, Bobby White from Woody Anderson Ford back again to talk to you about how easy it is to make a custom factory order. Just click WoodyAndersonFord.com, hit the top banner, then start making your selections. It's really simple, and you'll end up with the exact vehicle you want. Not only is there no extra charge to custom order, but at Woody Anderson Ford, we'll take 5% off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates on the 2022 F-150, Bronco Sport, Explorer, Expedition, and Ranger. Another option for you is a certified pre-owned. We have over 100 Ford Blue Advantage certified pre-owned models to choose from. Our Ford Gold certified are low mileage, gently used with great warranties. They've passed a 175-point inspection by certified technicians and come with a 24-hour roadside assistance, plus a full tank of gas and a fresh oil change. Also, don't forget our service department is offering a free pickup and delivery when it's time for your next Ford service. Woody Anderson Ford, Jordan at Sparkman. Hope to see you soon.
Hi, my name is Takia, and a little thing that I love about the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is when I take a bite, it's the perfect blend from the bacon to the cheese. It's perfection.
Hey, I'm Katora, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A mac and cheese is it kind of melts in your mouth, so you know it's creamy, cheesy, and delicious. This gooey mac makes me cheese every time.
Order dinner delivered on the Chick-fil-A app today. Delivery fee and other restrictions apply. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
I love overpriced stuff. Avocados, designer t-shirts, artisanal water. That's why I get my internet from the other guys. Paying more for the same stuff. What could be better?
Wow is better. For just $19.99 a month, we give you the super fast, extra reliable internet you need. Act now before this deal is gone. Internet 100 for just $19.99 a month. Plus, learn how to get up to $300 on us. Sign up at Huawei.com. Wow. Limited to new customers with auto pay and paperless billing. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Offer subject to change. Restrictions and terms apply.
Had a report of a natural gas leak at James Clements High School on County Line. Should have emergency equipment there now. Everything else looking good. I don't see anything new accident-wise. We just got a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode scrambling, trying to get in on time this morning. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, about the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Yeah, I guess really, the two headlines that I have, one sports related, one not, but it's got to be mentioned. Bruce Willis retiring from acting.
Did
you see that?
Yeah.
He has a health condition.
And it seems like it's been caused due to some accidents and incidents making movies.
Yeah, it has
His
to
own
do
career.
with his mental nervous system and
Yeah.
stuff. And so Bruce Willis retiring
Or
from
stepping
acting.
away.
Yeah. Family called it stepping away and stuff. So that's sad because
It is.
Die Hard movies, I'm sure they were in the
One of the greatest
age
actors
today.
of his generation.
Yeah, in the age of today where movies are not nothing is created new. They just rehash everything. I'm sure we were going to see a Die Hard eventually coming out, another one. So we will not have that anymore. But Bruce Willis, an Emmy Award-winning actor for his days on Moonlighting back in the day, his TV show with Sybil Shepherd. That's really
Wow.
what launched
When I was a
Bruce
kid, yeah.
Willis
It was,
to
yeah.
the forefront. And then he had the first franchise of his career, which was Die Hard. And that is, Samuel L. Jackson got his first big role in one of the Die Hards as well. So.
Yeah, yippee-ki-yay. I can't say the rest of it.
And that's still, people still debate whether the original Die Hard is a Christmas movie or
Oh yeah,
not.
I know. It's not it's an action movie, for crying out loud.
Set during Christmas.
Right.
And the other one is, and this is what a lot of people are in an uproar if you like country music.
Yeah.
And that is Eric Church. Did you hear about this?
I did not.
Okay, so Eric Church was supposed to perform, a country music singer, was supposed to perform and have a concert during Saturday. His Saturday concert was in San Antonio.
Yeah.
He canceled it so that he can attend. He is a huge North Carolina fan.
Well.
And he wants to attend the Carolina Duke Final Four game. So he canceled his Saturday show in San Antonio so that he could attend the Carolina Duke game.
Well, he'll make the concert up, I'm sure. And everyone will be able to use their tickets. It's kind of like what happened with the Sand Mountain Showdown in softball yesterday. Alabama and Jacksonville State, as predicted, they weren't able to play due to the inclement weather coming through the area, and they're going to play next Wednesday.
Right.
The tickets are still good, same time, and Eric Church will have the concert another time. He has the right to go to see North Carolina lose to Duke.
People are calling, some people, not everybody, some people are calling the act selfish.
Oh, good Lord. I mean, it would be selfish if he didn't have the concert, okay? He's not going to rip anybody off. He's going to see his favorite team lose.
And then on social media, Scotty Williams, remember the Scott Williams, played for North Carolina.
Yes. Tar Heel,
played for the
Bulls.
Chicago
Yeah,
Bulls
yep, he
with
did.
Michael Jordan.
Yep.
And went on Twitter the other day and said, "Hey, Michael, do you know where we could get some extra large, tall North Carolina gear or whatever? We're headed to the Final Four."
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan's response on Twitter was, "Working on it." And Scott Williams put on Twitter that yesterday he got his stuff from Michael Jordan, and Michael Jordan sent he and the entire crew that is going with Scott Williams North Carolina Jordan gear. And I mean, it looked like a sporting goods store threw up all over everything. I mean, we're talking pairs of Jordans, pairs of outfits galore.
Crazy.
That Michael Jordan sent him, and he's like,
wow.
He took care of him very well. So just some of the social media big headlines that's
if you know the right
out
folks,
there
you don't have
today.
to pay for anything, man. I'm telling you.
But I did see that the price to the Final Four early on, tickets were not expensive, but the more we get closer to Saturday,
I know you asked this question before the show too. I mean, as our opening, you were asking, "Is anyone in our area?"
Yeah, we know.
Going.
We know a couple people are going, but I was wondering how many people, because it is in North Carolina. I mean, because it is in
New Orleans.
New
close.
Orleans.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that is more intriguing, kind of like the national championship game being in Indianapolis. I'm wondering if that game in New Orleans, at the Final Four in New Orleans, is intriguing enough for several of our people here in Huntsville to make the drive to New Orleans.
Well, I know one thing. When they park their car and they walk into the Superdome, Scott, they will not get frostbite like we did in Indianapolis. where my good buddy and compatriot Brett Beard had a case of water in his car that froze.
Yes. No, it was. We walked. I mean,
I've never been that cold in all my life. I will go ahead and admit it. My hands froze.
So on
and I had gloves.
On StubHub right now, okay?
Yeah.
On StubHub, keep in mind of the hoopla and everything that's going on. Now, this isn't like the best season. I mean, if you've been inside the Superdome, you know about what I'm going to say, and you know where these tickets are, and you know how high they are up, and it's a tiny, tiny basketball court, right? Normally a football field, you can see everything in the Superdome. But corner 643, which is way, way up there.
Yeah.
Row 35, okay?
Mm-hmm. These are binoculars you're going to need.
Right, but for both sessions, okay, $385 a piece for a ticket.
For having to use binoculars, I don't know if that's worth it.
For you get, what, 3 games, $385.
Well, wait a minute. 2 games, right?
Final Four, all sessions.
Yeah.
So you get the 2 games and then the championship.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
yeah,
it'd be 3
so it's
games.
for 3 games, yeah.
$385 for 3 games.
Oh, well, you're talking about just for the one ticket for all 3.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Final Four, all session
That's really
tickets,
just a little over $100 a game.
April 2nd and April 4th. That's what I'm saying.
That's not bad at all.
I'm surprised that the ticket prices are that
low?
affordable to go. So I'm wondering if that would make it more enticing for people in this area to go see a Final Four game.
Maybe so.
Would you sit that far up in the Superdome to see a basketball game?
I love Coach K. No. I'll watch my 50-inch TCL courtesy of Redstone Pond.
There you go. There you go. Like to hear that. All right, that's going to do it for our Thursday edition show.
Yeah. Thank you to Aaron Settles. Great stuff. Thank you to Mitchell Forty and the callers.
All right, guys. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning. We'll wrap it all up. Hey, don't forget, we're going to be live Saturday morning from 9 to 11 from University Kia. Arthur, crank up the Kia because we want to see you in a Kia.